So the more we're able to translate HR activities and how they support or enhance value to the organization, we better define our story.
Hi, it's John Bernatovich, your host of the HR Like a Boss podcast. Welcome to Season 3. I've embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope of finding what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. On today's show, I'm super excited to have Tina Marie Wohlfield. She's a contact that I made through some other great SHRM and HR professional contacts. She's doing some amazing things up in Michigan, spreading the word about great HR, and I'm super excited to have her on the HR Like a Boss podcast. Welcome to you, Tina.
I am so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
What do you describe as the purpose of human resources?
Well, we are in the business of people, which means we have to interact and try to make humans better than when we first met them. So that's helping them through every stage of their employment life cycle before they even decide to join our organization, and make them better when they do decide to leave. And regardless if we help nudge them along to redeploy them to the competition or help them transition to their next journey, and maybe it's a barista at Starbucks and we can go hang out with them when they're doing something else later on in their career. But we are in the people business, which means we have to interact as humans with other humans.
How can the HR professional improve their financial acumen around profit and loss and balance sheet to drive better results for their business, at the same time serving the people as you described?
I think there's two ways we need to be better at engaging the organization from an HR perspective when it comes to financial acumen. The first is we need to understand, how does the organization make money? How does cash come in and how does cash leave out? Like, how do we make money and where do we spend our money? I think it's really important if we understand what the organization does to create value. Like, what is it you do? Who do you sell it to? Who are your main customers? What is your industry? That allows us to better bring HR activities that enhance our ability to generate revenue or create value for our customers. So that's one piece. The other piece that I think is really important is we have to speak the language that those in the C-suite understand. So we have to translate HR actions into terms that they can relate, and that's through key performance indicators that they use or other performance metrics. So the more we're able to translate HR activities and how they support or enhance value to the organization, we better define our story.
I'm going to go to a topic that I know you got a lot of passion for. I know you're going to disrupt the world around this when it comes to the idea of curiosity is a critical competency for human resources. What in the world does that mean, Tina?
So think about, I'm going to go back, and John, I'm just going to admit that we must be the same age because I was also in 8th grade in 1987, which means you and I are in 12 protected classes because we're vintage. But I think back to when we were in school and when we would get excited for something, maybe it was just me and I'd raise my hand and I would ask a lot of questions until the teacher would start ignoring me or tell me that I was asking too many questions. So now we are adults and we're working, and when we become curious, we will ask questions. It's how you ask the questions. Is there a different way of doing this? Why are we doing it this way? Have you thought about it this way? And I think in HR, we tend to get stuck in complacency. We are so structured to the point where sometimes we fall in love with our policies versus we need to be questioning, always be curious and looking to see what else is out there. Curiosity breeds ideation, it breeds creativity, it breeds innovation, but curiosity also, it allows us to be more inclusive in our workplaces and in the organization, because when we're curious, that means we're open and maybe more flexible to how people may think differently, look differently, act differently, like ideas, perception, alternatives, thoughts than what we have. So in HR, right, we are so notoriously not curious that I think curiosity is not just a competency we need in HR to make the organization better, to help us evolve and find and create new ways of thinking. We also need to make sure the organizations we support celebrate that, instead of going back into school and we were trained and ingrained to say, when you ask too many questions, you're annoying, or, people don't feel comfortable asking questions or questioning how somebody may think or present something, an idea, not to be arrogant, but to say, hey, have you thought about it this way? What about this? And we're not comfortable using that curious voice in the workplace. And I think we're seeing issues as a result. And so in HR, we need to embrace curious. We need to teach the organization to embrace curious, and we need to hire for curiosity as a positive employment trait versus something that maybe is perceived as a negative. It's a challenge. It's something that I think we need more of, not just in society. And I think if people were more open to asking questions and not feeling judged when they do, or being open to present an idea, even if it's something completely different than the organization's done, but we're so used to hearing it, oh, we've always done it that way, we would have a lot more positive and innovation and definitely a lot more inclusion in our workplaces. So there you go. That's my 2.5-minute version of my fun Disrupt HR talk that will be available if you Google it.
Tell me your description of someone that does HR like a boss.
Somebody that does HR like a boss gets their hands wet. They are not afraid to use their HR voice for the power of good. They will accept with humility when they are wrong and embrace failure as an opportunity and not an option. They are an advocate for the people, by the people, but yet advocate for the organization. They celebrate with employees at all levels and make sure that we make better decisions that make sense, that put people first, because without people, we have no organization at all.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. You did an awesome job, Tina.
Thank you so much for having me. What a riot.
Thank you for listening to the HR Like a Boss podcast. If it resonates with you, please leave a rating or review, or better yet, subscribe and share with a friend. Until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.